David Lynch once said, "When you fly into LA at night, it's all lit up, miles and miles of lights. So beautiful. It's a very fast image, but within it, there are these places that talk about memory. You know, on a summer's night, maybe more like a spring night, you could drive to certain places, and if you could smell that night-blooming jasmine, you can almost see Clark Gable and Gloria Swanson. The golden age of Hollywood is still living in some moods here, in the DNA of the city." Lynch loved LA, the nostalgia held in it through film and art history, the creative opportunities it provided, the dreams it created, although he couldn't stand the presence of what he described as the worst kind of disease, graffiti. His epitaph simply reads "Night Blooming Jasmine" in reference to the golden Hollywood age that he saw echoing in the life of the city. Earlier tonight, before this screening, Sunset Boulevard was shown as a film that inspired Lynch in this particular film. Lynch would say that what he loved about the world that Billy Wilder created was it's a truthful movie, and that carries through to today. It has a lot of sadness in it, and beauty, and mystery, and dreams. The tagline for Mulholland Drive was simply a love story in the city of dreams, and that's almost all that Lynch would give away about the possible meaning of the film. He would famously remain even more tight-lipped about it than Eraserhead. There are those famous clips of him online in Q&As or interviews. He's asked a really long, winding question about possible meanings or interpretations, whether something is true, and more often than not he'd just look at them and say, no. Starting out as a painter, he realised that film was a moving painting and he turned his hand to it. The look of his debut matching the nightmarish look of his paintings. I don't know how many of you have seen the documentary David Lynch, The Art Life, but it looks at his painting, his sculpture, all the work that he does in that regard. And there's something about what he puts on the canvas that really captures this kind of inner nightmarish darkness. There's something slightly unsettling about some of them because of how they just capture how the mind can feel in certain times of negativity. And many of the visions and ideas in the films that would follow Eraserhead, particularly Mulholland Drive, echo that idea of a moving painting, especially with their down-to-interpretation natures. And I don't want to say a great deal about the film's possible meanings, partly because I can't, and also because so much of it is down to what you get out of this particular viewing. After I introduced Blue Velvet, I saw someone say it was less of an introduction and more a guide on how to watch the film, and I kind of get what they meant. I rambled on about the different possible meanings, ideas, and fell into that trap of treating every Lynch film like Mulholland Drive, and obviously they're not, but I would argue that there are elements that are down to interpretation and can be seen differently with each viewing to each of them. But the last thing I want to do is give a guide on how to watch the film. That being said, Lynch himself did kind of write a guide on how to watch Mulholland Drive. Not kind of how to watch it, but it was described as 10 clues to unlocking Mulholland Drive, featured as a bit of card in the original DVD release, back when you could get bits of paper and loads of bonus features and bonus discs without having to pay 20 to 30 quid extra. A list of 10 clues that perhaps made the film more perplexing, but that might have been the point. For those interested, I've put a link to those clues in the description. One thing's for certain, when it comes to Mulholland Drive, Lynch loved the city in which it's set, the dreams that brought people to it and that it helped create, but he was also aware of the nightmares that ran through it and that dreams themselves can become. That mixture in the Hollywood machine can drive you mad as the city engulfs people whilst promising that anyone can make it and be anyone they want to be, but only if you fit the mould. The sadness that he saw in Sunset Boulevard, still present in the modern era. Lynch said that when you smell that night-blooming jasmine, you could almost see Gloria Swanson. For those who have seen Sunset Boulevard, Norma Desmond definitely lived on. When they go to the Paramount lot in this film, her car is still there. Lynch also said of LA, "I arrived here in August 1970 at night, and I woke up in the morning, and I'd never seen the light so bright. A feeling comes with this light, a feeling of creative freedom, so for me it was almost an immediate full-tilt love affair from then on. Hopefully everybody finds a place where they feel good about being where they are, a place that does something to them. That's LA to me." He was creatively moved and inspired by the city, and it allowed him to come up with ideas. In so many of the interviews and clips and stuff that I've seen and read while putting these intros together for this season, one thing about Lynch shines through, and that's his love of ideas. He speaks of them over projects and films. His focus seemed to always be worlds and ideas. He allowed them to lead him, following them to where they'd go, perhaps connect to others and join together into something bigger. He once said, in another room the puzzle is complete and you're being flipped a piece at a time, one by one, putting it together bit by bit until it matches and you have a complete film or chair or painting or idea for a painting. Mulholland Drive feels like the true combination of that idea-led journey, particularly with how it started out initially as an idea for a TV pilot. I highly, highly recommend just going to YouTube, spending time watching David Lynch talk about ideas, where they come from and what they mean to him. It's just pure inspiration and wisdom. He once said that depression, and this is one of the things that's really stood out to me, that depression, when you're not even able to get out of bed, must be the worst kind of thing because your mind is so consumed that there's no room for ideas and creativity. But the suffering and pain can form ideas and be turned into creative energy and expression and inspire something. I've spoken once or twice about his championing of transcendental meditation, where he said that it allowed him to turn anger and stress into creative drive and energy by repeating the mantra that he'd been given. I was initially going to avoid giving my own thoughts as to what the film's about, because again, this is very much a film that should speak for itself, and I know there are some people who just want to allow the film to wash over them without any influence of possible meanings or interpretations, but when I watched the film about a week ago for putting this intro together, perhaps in the wake, almost certainly in the wake of having seen Sunset Boulevard just before, I saw amongst all the strands that unfold a film about self-doubt, particularly in the wake of your own expectations and other people's. Lynch insisted that the film told a coherent story from start to finish, and it may well do. You may see a film that makes total sense from start to finish. On the red carpet for the Oscars in 2002, when he was nominated for Best Director for this film, he stopped to speak to Roger Ebert, and Lynch assured the critic that he did already understand the film, and agreed when Ebert said that he understood it emotionally, and that was the most important thing. And that's the real sign of Mulholland Drive's greatness. We may not always understand it, but still feel emotionally compelled by it. The fear, romanticism and mystery all working at the same time, and at no point does Lynch have to instruct us in the dialogue what we should feel or that we don't have to understand. It's all part of the alluring cycle of the city of dreams that he loved so much, infused with that night-blooming jasmine. I think I've successfully said nothing and far too much all at the same time there. I can only apologise, but still thank you for your time. Get ready to experience David Lynch's Mulholland Drive.